Welcome to the GLAMMONS MOOC. The GLAMMONS project is a European collaboration dedicated to reimagining galleries, libraries, archives, and museums as commons-oriented institutions. This course explores how GLAM institutions can operate as cultural commons. We'll examine how these institutions are transforming from traditional, hierarchical models to inclusive, participatory platforms of shared cultural stewardship. Across Europe and beyond, galleries, libraries, archives, and museums are undergoing a dramatic shift. No longer are they passive storehouses. Increasingly, they function as living cultural ecosystems rooted in participation, community care, and collective governance. In this course, we explore that shift through the lens of the commons. This introduction grounds you in the theory of cultural commons. Through 8 thematic modules of this MOOC, each drawing on specific issues arising from the GLAMMONS research project, you will understand GLAMs as commons-based infrastructures that democratize cultural stewardship. Explore collaborative governance models, such as co-leadership, volunteer-centric management, and agonistic dialogue. Examine financial, digital, and value-based transitions through a commons lens, and be able to apply these insights to your own practice, whether you are a cultural worker, policymaker, researcher, or engaged citizen. Cultural commons are resources, stories, artworks, collective memories that grow rather than deplete through use. Unlike natural commons such as forests or fisheries, cultural commons are intangible. They flourish through sharing, circulation, and contribution. Commons thinker Peter Linebaugh calls this process commoning, the ongoing social practice of caring for, producing, and governing shared resources. In GLAM settings, commoning transforms visitors into co-creators and professionals into facilitators. It emphasizes ecosystems built through participation, stewardship, and mutual care. Rather than being governed by consumption, cultural commons are sustained through collective governance and shared responsibility. Cultural commons thrive on 3 building blocks: a shared resource like collections, spaces, knowledge, a community of commoners like staff, volunteers, audiences, and a governance framework that is inclusive, transparent, and adaptive. When these elements align, a different logic of value emerges, one that moves away from markets and toward community well-being. Co-creation replaces competition, and institutions shift from transactional service models to relational ecosystems that sustain culture collectively. Traditional GLAMs often follow hierarchical models of governance. Commons-oriented governance, by contrast, distributes authority and welcomes disagreement as a creative force. Drawing on Chantal Mouffe's agonistic pluralism, we treat conflict not as a problem to suppress, but as dialogue that keeps institutions vibrant and responsive. Physical and digital spaces also play powerful roles. A reading room, an online archive, even a hashtag can become constitutive forces, shaping who feels welcome, whose stories are told, and how collaboration unfolds. Finally, we recognize volunteers' sweat equity as genuine capital. Their time, care, and local knowledge are not side extras, they are the moral and operational backbone of many community-run GLAMs. Our first module spotlights grassroots governance. Take as an example Jesmond Library in Newcastle, slated for closure. It was saved by local residents who now manage it cooperatively, blending professional librarianship with volunteer energy. In Greece, more than 40 oral history groups have sprung up since 2011, creating decentralized archives of everyday memories. These cases demonstrate how community ownership re-energizes cultural infrastructure, cultivates local pride, and extends the life of heritage assets. Our second module tackles financing GLAMs under commons. Money often feels like the Achilles heel of commons projects. Yet research shows that community-financed models, membership fees, donation-based crowdfunding, cooperative shares, can sustain small GLAMs while preserving autonomy. Volunteer labor remains the single largest budget line, but many groups mix grassroots income with carefully chosen public grants. The challenge is balancing accountability requirements with horizontal decision-making. Policy proposals such as multi-year operational grants for cultural commons could bridge that gap. Values guide every organizational choice, from collection policies to ticket pricing. The value-based approach in Module 3 maps 4 dominant orientations. Knowledge-driven GLAMs prioritize research and learning. Care-oriented GLAMs focus on inclusion and mutual support. Artistic experimental GLAMs champion creative risk-taking. Adaptive resilient GLAMs balance sustainability with autonomy. Understanding your institution's value mix helps align governance, finance, and programming with community aspirations. Bringing these threads together in Module 4, the GLAMMONS framework proposes a toolkit, collaborative management structures, agonistic public forums, volunteer pathways to leadership, and transparent resource flows. Space, whether a neighborhood museum or a Discord server, must invite diverse voices. Emerging tools such as community tokens or blockchain ledgers offer experiments in shared ownership, but technology must serve social goals, not the other way around. In Module 5, we examine co-curation through the new Patrons protocol. Here, citizens commission artworks to address social needs, from revitalizing abandoned squares to visualizing migrant stories. Mediators guide a triad of patrons, artists, and institutions, ensuring that power is shared in care principles, attentiveness, responsibility, competence, responsiveness, reciprocity, are upheld. The result is art that belongs to its community both emotionally and legally. Digitization in Module 6 offers opportunities and risks. Open platforms like Monumenta's crowdsourced database empower citizens to document architectural heritage. Conversely, proprietary metadata standards can entrench gatekeeping. This module calls for design justice in digital GLAMs, ensuring that platforms, code, and licenses advance openness, equity, and co-governance. By treating digital space as a commons, institutions can transform users into archivists, annotators, and storytellers. Module 7 will introduce us to skills and capacities. In contemporary cultural organizations that aim for commons-based models of management and collaboration, the development of specific skills becomes essential for achieving inclusive and sustainable cultural practices. Instead of relying on traditional, hierarchical approaches that favor centralized control, the commons-based approach emphasizes participation, collective responsibility, and the co-production of cultural values by experts and communities. In this context, this module presents several key skills that enable effective and inclusive cultural creation such as facilitation, listening, mediation, holding space, digital literacy and company creation, participatory governance, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, institutional embedding. The 8th module focuses on policies that enable commoning practices. Despite their strong social and cultural value, GLAMMONS often face policy invisibility. They operate in the shadows of cultural frameworks that privilege markets, institutions, and consumption, while their practices of care, reciprocity, and co-creation remain under-recognized. To change this, we need policies that are place-based, tailored to local assets, identities, and histories. We also need a community economy lens that values non-market contributions such as stewardship, mutual aid, and collective governance. Policy support can unfold across 3 levels of action: acknowledging, granting legal recognition through measures like an EU Commons Charter or community asset transfers; enabling, providing long-term funding, governance toolkits, and training programs to strengthen capacities; engaging, embedding cultural commons in broader solidarity economy strategies, from dedicated funds to designated commons zones and regional integration. The ultimate goal is to embed GLAMMONS in inclusive, resilient cultural policy ecosystems, ensuring that their practices not only survive but actively shape the future of cultural life. By completing this course, you will be equipped to spot commons dynamics in your own context. You'll know how to foster co-leadership teams, design volunteer roles that carry real decision power, and craft funding strategies that honor autonomy. You'll also have digital guidelines to ensure openness and data sovereignty. Care, equity, participation, and sustainability run like red threads through every module. Armed with concrete cases and specific concepts, you can begin transforming your GLAM, whether large or small, into a thriving cultural commons. Thank you for joining us in this course on cultural commons and the future of GLAMs. Learn more exploring our other resources like the GLAMMONS podcast and visit our website. You can also follow us on our social media channels for the project updates, case studies, and opportunities to engage.